if you try to control your past, maybe you can control your future.
You are now listening to SARELGAURMD.
Hey guys, SARELGAURMD. Smelling like a vacation. I'm here to sell you again on that book of books, that text of texts. You know what I'm talking about? 1984. I don't think y'all got me the first time, but it's all good. It's all good. We can try again. I recorded this track a little while back. I was going through my backlogs, and I was looking at this, and I thought it was some serious stuff to show to you guys. It's just a video of me breaking down the themes in 1984. Hope you guys enjoy it. Give it a listen. I think it'll give you some insights into my website, my personality. So here goes my unabridged thoughts on 1984. So what is the book about? The book is about a guy, Winston Smith, and the book is actually about him trying to write a book. So, kind of crazy, right? It's one of these fractal things. It's like you're reading a book about a guy trying to write a book, all right? And there's also another repetition of that pattern, a twist on it, later on in the book, because you're reading the book and then he starts to read a book, so you're reading the book with him. It's kind of a book within a book. So again, one of the themes is fractals, which I find fractals to be a theme that is seen throughout, I think, good, not just literature, good literature, or just good art, or good science, or whatever. When you see fractals, try to notice it. And in fact, notice that this video right now is you're watching your laptop of a guy talking to his laptop. So that's a fractal too. Just something to think about. What are some of the themes of the book? Basically, it's some people may read it the first time and think, oh, it's obviously a political book, because it talks about kind of, I want to say communism, but totalitarianism. It talks about that. It kind of talks about how there is some power above you that is trying to control you, and you're kind of trying to exist in spite of that power. You're trying to listen to yourself and your own thoughts, what your own thoughts are telling you, whether you agree or not. All right, and it's an amazing, beautiful theme, because it's so relevant now. It was relevant then. It was relevant 1,000 years ago, 1,000,000 years ago. It's going to be relevant 1,000,000 years from now. And hopefully they're still printing the book. But basically, it's this idea, what people call Big Brother. Now, a lot of people think Big Brother is just some guy watching you. Maybe that's one take on it. But really, what Big Brother is this oppressive force that trying to make you focus on it. And you have to decide, what do you really feel towards that oppressive force? Right? Do you feel good feelings? Do you feel bad feelings? And it's not that you have to feel one way or the other, but you have to look deep down inside and see, what is that person really trying to get out of you, that greater power. So it's political, because there are a lot of countries where the leader will very, very strongly control the constituents, to the point where they really want to dictate what you do, how you think, how you spend your free time, what your thoughts are. And they want all those thoughts to really focus on them and the whole hierarchy of power. And the book teaches you that you have to see that for what it is, and you have to decide if that's what you want or not. And then it shows you what happens when you try to oppose that power, at least in a totalitarianism type of system, which thankfully I don't think the U.S. is. I think the book really makes you appreciate the freedom that you have in the United States. We take a lot of our freedoms for granted. One thing I would say we do have the freedom to do, which is an amazing part of this country, is if you have an idea, or you have a belief, or you have something that you really feel strongly about, you can push that thought out there and no one's really gonna stop you. And that's really an amazing thing. I'm a little bit shocked when I read this book, when you hear about systems in place in governments, entire thought systems where that whole idea that if you had a independent thought or idea that you could push it out, that whole idea was suppressed. It wasn't even thought to be allowed. What else is it about? It's about themes. It's about repetitive themes. One of the things I've learned from all these recordings that I've made is that life is sort of like a recording sometimes. When I'm at work, I hear the secretaries, how they're talking on the phone, and it's like their voice is recorded. It's like they're just playing back a recorded voice, Or sometimes I'll even notice myself when I'm talking to a patient that I'm just saying a recorded, pre-programmed speech. It's not real spontaneous speech. It's just a recording. And I do try to actively stop myself. But nevertheless, what the book tries to talk about is that life kind of is a pattern that just keeps repeating. And you have to sort of sort out that pattern. And one way to sort out that pattern that the book teaches you is to look at the past. One of the ways that in the book the government controls the people is by deleting the past. Now, I think this is actually probably why people have gotten into the whole Trump thing with the whole, telling lies or fake news. What is the real truth? And the book makes it literally makes the specific point that whatever is documented about the past becomes the past, whether or not it is what actually happened. And this is really a crazy thing, is that the past does not exist in a discrete place that we can quantify it or measure it or analyze it. Once this moment has passed, it's gone. Now, except for a good recording, which it's kind of interesting. I've sort of put some energy in my life into making recordings. I almost think of myself as a recording artist because I'm spending my time trying to record something which I think is meaningful. Once a moment has passed, no matter how valuable that moment has been, if it was not recorded, it did not matter. And even more so, someone else could manipulate that past and turn that into the future. And in fact, the book talks about that. Famous line from the book, sure you've heard of it. It's in a song. Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. Now, many different ways to interpret that. One way to literally interpret that for the book is if you know the past, you can predict the future. Okay, I hope that sort of makes sense. The people that are in control of the government or whatever right now control the past. So they automatically control the future. I guess then the book can tell you that if you try to control your past, maybe you can control your future. I found the book very valuable. And I think it's a very American book. If that makes any sense, just kind of leave on that note that I think it's intrinsically American because it's a real American belief system. And even though it was written by a British writer, but then I guess it also kind of again talks about the past because before America there was Britain, and that's kind of the spirit that he's imbuing into the book. So that's my piece on 1984. What do you think? Definitely get the book, SARELGAURMD.